WolverThor!
Hey everybody, welcome back. In this video we've got, man, there's so many different things we could talk about. Rosters, raids, all kinds of... Squirrel! That's right, priority video time. It's been a while. It's probably been, God, it's been, I'm just looking at my spreadsheet here. It's been a month and a week or so. So, as always, I make the squirrel joke because, you know, there's just so many things in this game that can get you distracted. You know, I debated talking about going over my roster just to kind of explain things where I'm at. Because, look, I put this disclaimer in front of most of these videos. Everybody's priorities are different. It depends what your RNG is. It depends how much money you've put in the game. It depends how much time you've put in the game. It can all vary. In the spreadsheet that I've got linked in the description below, I've got the priorities since I started doing them back in, let me just look here. God, the first one I've got on here looks like August 26th of last year now. So I've been doing them for a while, and then I've also kind of got a little beginners tab that I try to update as, you know, the game evolves, so that's, you know, tends to be up to date. So anyway, we'll just kind of do a quick, I'm not going to go over my whole roster here, but you can see kind of where I'm at. I'm starting to get a lot of players, or a lot of tunes at max, just through farming, and I've been lucky to stay, you know, high up in arena, so I can get cores most days, pretty solid amount of cores that can help me refresh my campaign energy, and that's what's helping me, you know, outside of some of my early dolphining, I'll call it, in the game to get some of these guys built up. As you can see, Thanos, I wasn't really around I came after him, so, you know, he's not quite 7-star. Deadpool is around here somewhere. He's the same guy, came in right around his raid time, so... but as always, red stars reign supreme. So, you know, that's we're stuck with it in the game. You know, again, I've said my piece on this 1,000 different times. Did the collaboration video on it, and I still feel the same way. I don't think they're balancing out over time. I don't think that people are happy with them for the most part. Sure, some might be, but it just, you know, it's kind of like what we were talking about in our video, is that, and we've talked about in Reddit and all kinds of different things, is that it becomes very difficult to, you know, focus those. And then when you get a raid like, let's go into Gamma here, it's pretty much, we're already past some of these for Gamma, but, you know, you've got these raid notes, Kree and Ravager. And as you can see here, as you can see, like, I mean, there's 4-star tunes in that, you know, and for this lane, you know, for us to get 60% on this raid, we've got to be able to take out that node and probably this one, which, oh, by the way, is hand, you know, and we've actually, this one is Kree or hand, you know, it's like, really, like, are those serious, you know, nodes? And anyway, I'm going to do a Gamma video. I haven't done it yet. You guys probably already formed your opinions, but essentially, I mean, the summation of some of that is you really got Kree trait requirement nodes in a lane that's shared with shield, and you shared shield with defenders. So it's like, I mean, a lot of the people who got defenders didn't focus Nick Fury, unless you're, you know, an early game player, beta launch, or you just happen to get those guys early. So oddly enough, I didn't focus either of those teams. I focused Guardians. So anywho, point is that there's a lot of different stuff going on in the game, and I'm just, you know, we've got a couple events coming up, you know, and these things cycle through, you know, with Relic's coming up again in a few days, Iron Man's coming up. I think it's foolish to even have Doom in the game. I get it that, you know, they had to do it for Marvel, but I don't know. I think it's a little bit of false advertising. I'll just say it. So anyway, all right, let's get on to the priorities here. So this is more of a spreadsheet video. All right, so the last video we had was back in December 7th, and you can see that some of the stuff stays consistent. The way you kind of read this is the last one, and then you can see the updates as I went. I didn't necessarily do a video each time, but I did update these a little bit. Sometimes it might have been minor, but or some progress was made, but I nonetheless put it in the spreadsheet just so I could share it with you guys once I got this video done. So anyway, the last video, it was slot machine, red stars, 7-star for Magneto. Just I had him at 6. I got some lucky drops and obviously spent a bunch of money on that, which I did the video on, and it is what it is. And then the City Heroes Block Party, I wanted to try to get that to 7-star for those T formats. So, and we had the raids, the Kree. We had a single character focus prior to this red star thing, which you eventually see in the next week dropped way down, or much further down, as low as it can go outside of these kind of old campaign nodes. And the reason being for that is because red stars are about the single character focus, so this category kind of goes away. And then we've got the arena, shield, defenders. This is just, again, you'll see in my beginners section over here, I've got defenders way higher. This was just because of how I did things, but if you're a beginner, defenders should be straight up at the top. So, and then the hand catalyst, mercs, dark dimension 6-star, and then I had these campaign / challenge items, and then at the bottom here I had some items that I had already finished, whether it was the Guardians or the Blasters challenge and the Controllers challenge, ability mats, all kinds of different things. So as we moved forward, the consistency, and I'm going to jump pretty much from 12.7 to 1.15, which is today, with some comments about how I kind of progress. But this red stars, those are going to stay at the top. They're always going to be at the top because it's just too big of a game changer. Those things are just, I mean, look, let me say this differently, or slightly differently. 4, 5, 6, and especially 7 stars are game changers. 1, 2, 3, maybe not really. If you're going to prioritize a character, if you get 1 or 2 red stars, that doesn't mean anything. Don't prioritize that character. 3 stars, or maybe a team of 3 stars. If all of a sudden all your defenders have 3 stars, okay, maybe you want to shift those guys up. If all of a sudden your Guardians all have 3 stars, okay, let's focus that. Or even your hand, if that gets 3 stars. So those are children playing, having fun, which everybody should be doing with their life, honestly. So anyway, that's the kind of what that's my comment about the red stars and kind of how to focus them. But I've got that 100% at the top because it can change things so dramatically. I don't spend money on these, but it is a dramatic aspect of the game. So mutants, 7-star for Magneto. I'm pushing this just because I had it at 6. I really want to get it to 7, and you can see I'm still there. I'm still farming Mystique and Storm every day. So it's gonna be a grind. Next one was this city block. I ended up finishing this one recently and got when that recent challenge came up. Sorry, I cut out there for a second. So that I've eventually finished that challenge. So obviously that dropped down. So I was happy to get that kind of done. And I actually used that team: Night Nurse, Miss Marvel, Daredevil, Spider-Man, and Luke Cage. It worked out pretty well. Let's see. And then this kind of mixes around a little bit where we had some raid teams, some Kree teams. And this Kree team jumps up a little bit. And you can see here that it's for Nick. I still haven't unlocked Nick Fury. I will next time. I've got just the Noble left. But on top of that, this Gamma Raid. It's, a lot of people have Shield and Defender teams. I'm not one of them. So it makes sense for me to go to the side. But again, it's like, well, if you don't have a strong Shield team, that probably means you didn't focus Kree yet, which is absolutely the case. But I was starting to focus them to do it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going all in. So started bumping them up for Nick Fury and the Gamma Raid. So that went up a little bit. Raid Brits, already talked about that. The arena is still kind of the same. And this fluctuates also with red stars, or what teams you got. I'm still running Brotherhood with Venom. It's doing decent. Today I actually dropped quite a bit, to be honest with you. Let me put that in perspective. It's like I'm typically a top 2 to 5 player and drop down to, I think, 10 or 15. And normally I'm just sitting at, that top 5 for most of the day. But You know, so there's clearly some shaking up going on there, so I might have to move that up a little bit and focus and put some T4 mats into my Brotherhood, but we'll see how that kind of shakes out. In that spot now, I actually have, in this 4 spot, the hand, the Catalyst, and this was even before I knew the Catalyst was coming, but it was because I had all these other 4 6 stars. I got some drops, I think it was from Premium or maybe a Mega Orb, and Electra and Nobu all of a sudden were right next to 6 star, and I was like, well, I should just do this. I should push Hand Sorceress up and try to see if I get 6 stars. She's not going to get 6 stars by this event that's coming up, but hopefully for the next one. And I won't buy anything. I'll say it if I didn't say it earlier, is I've stopped spending money on the game for 99% of the things just because of the randomness that is red stars. I can't, in good conscience, spend money on a game that just, I don't know if that money is going to be well spent in a week, because someone else might get a red star that beats me. I might get a red star who's on somebody else, and I can't control any of it. So, or, you know, there's a raid that's going to come out that says I've got to, you know, have someone who's half Wakandan and half something else that, you know, just doesn't. Anyway, sorry. A little bitter about some of that stuff. I get it. I want to level up everybody, but sometimes I mean, when you've got a raid, you can't even use Night Nurse in at all, period. I mean, come on. Especially when there's no healers in the game. But what costs money? Oh, heals. Interesting. Okay, anyway, back to the priorities here. So where were we at? Oh, yeah, I was mentioning the hand, 6 star here in this 4 spot. You know, then the defenders, those guys kind of have been creeping up the list, as you can see. They're a great team. Like I said in the beginners section of this, they're, you know, the first team I think you should focus outside of your heroes and villains campaign, because they can be used everywhere. And I even say in the arena, use defenders. Raids, use defenders. So, but that wasn't always the case when I played, and I never focused them even when they got their buffs, just because I was already kind of in for my Guardians team. And then I've got my arena team here, like I mentioned, raid/blitz. This is almost becoming non-existent at this point, but I've just got it kind of in there for whenever it actually becomes a point of focus again. Shield, Iron Man's coming up for 7 star. I'm making no effort towards it at all. Iron Man, I think, is a decent character. I think he's, do I want to say the worst of the legendary? I mean, it's probably Nick Fury, Magneto, then Star-Lord. Yeah, so I think Iron Man's probably the worst. So anyway, I'm not focusing there. Mercs, 7 star. I'm just too far away. You know, I have no way of farming Deadpool, so I'm not really farming these other guys. I'll let it happen naturally through orbs. And then, like I mentioned, the single character focus dropped. And then I actually put on here, this is new, I think, the Fear of the Darkness T13, which I should have this all the way at the bottom because farming T13 is silly. But I have it just at the top, which I consider kind of the pointless section, which is this, you know, the campaigns, which you can't do anyway. Well, let me take that back. Depending on how far you are, you know, you're locked out because they haven't expanded them at all. So it's all about just farming those at this point. And then, you know, these are the items that I've already got done. So that's my kind of priority list at the moment. You know, if in general in the game, I always focus. I think arena is a, you know, big aspect of the game that I always focused early on, mainly because the cores. You know, you need the cores for everything, including those energy refreshes, which are kind of the heart and soul of this. So if you can get as many of those cores as you can, it's good. So get those defenders up early if you're a beginner/early type player. And if you're not and you're late, you know, I recommend obviously the Brotherhood. Nick Fury teams are good. It's becoming a very paper, rock, scissors type, or rock, paper, scissors, however you would, or Shambo, depending where you're from. Type of dynamic in arena, and that's you know, not a bad thing necessarily. You know, metas are meant to be broken, and you know, theory crafting is meant to be done so that we can kind of think about how that works. So yeah, so arena number 1. Then obviously you want to get your raids. You know, and raids just kind of, you know, for your alliance and getting the mats that you need. And I was about to comment about blitz. To me, I'm a blitz nut. I think I'm over 9,000 wins at this point. It's just a stupid amount of wins given how long I've been playing. And the reason being is because I don't think there's any other better way to get free shards. And by free, I mean if you're assuming time is free, which it's not. But it is the best way to get, you know, shards in this game. So that would be the next thing that I would kind of get in there. So, and then you kind of start looking at these lists. So anyway, as always, I hope this video helps. Again, you know, you might be in a different situation. You might have had a different RNG. I'd love to hear from you to see kind of just, you know, the ways you're approaching things currently. If you maybe think that, you know, Iron Man is, no, I'm crazy. If you do this and this with Iron Man and use him in this manner, he's way better than, you know, whoever. But by the way, you know, a suggestion to Foxnext, I think, would be is, you know, if you can give Iron Man that same type of, you know, team synergy / impact that, you know, your Magneto and Nick Fury and even Star-Lord have for the Avengers. I think I'm gonna have to give props to Tuna, because I think he's the first one I heard say this. So the credit needs to go to him. But I think that's a great idea, you know, because Iron Man would be a really good character. And let's be real, the Avengers aren't in the meta anywhere. You know, it's kind of like, really? That is, okay, like arguably one of the strongest teams in any of comic history, at least as far as, you know, outside of Eternals and stuff like that. It's like they're not even a meta. Thor, Hulk suck. Wolverine sucks. Okay, too much soapbox. So anyway, hope the video helps. As always, if you want to see more like it, and maybe some walkthroughs, or, you know, just kind of any aspect or dynamic of the game, please click that subscribe button, as well as hammer down on that like button, and we'll see you guys again soon. Thanks.